Welcome back to Tactical What's Tonight. It was supposed to be a live stream, but just as I was about to go live, a bit of a technical fail. The OBS stopped working, so I had to improvise. Luckily, the screen was being recorded for the race, so the show must go on. So this was stage 2 of rolling with ENVE on the brutal BRAEk-fast Crits and Grits course. And when I say brutal, I really mean it. You've got the Clyde Kicker, the Castle Climb, 4 times up the Breakaway Brae Rev, and then just when you think you've done, it all finishes on the Sgurr Summit. Honestly, this was disgusting. It's one of the hardest efforts I've done on Zwift in a while. And I'll only be doing it once this week. So I ended up flat on the floor in a pool of sweat. I was almost sick. But it was almost my last ride on my Zwift Hub trainer. So at least it's gone out with a bit of a bang. Because tomorrow I've got a new trainer coming. I've got a Wahoo KICKR replacing it. So definitely give it a good send-off. Let's get into it. So what I didn't mention in the intro then is I've got a teammate in Matt from TMP, but also I've got Colin Coates in this, who I've raced with a few times. He's also streaming, so I'll stick his link in the race description below. But you know there'll be a little bit of rivalry between the three of us. It's always like that when you're racing with Zwifting buddies. You kind of want to try and beat each other. So this starts off kind of like any other Zwift race. We're straight up into the high watts, and as you see, the lead in it does have kind of a nice little incline to start off then. And you'll note there as we went through the banner, the 2 power-ups for today are the feather and the anvil. Luckily on this instance, I got the feather, so I'm going to make sure that I use it tactically. There's a lot of power-ups on this one, and you'll see straight away we're hitting ramps. This is the final climb that we're going to do, so we're going to do it in the lead-in and at the end, so we've got a good opportunity now to kind of recce it and see how it goes. At this point, I'm not going to use the feather. I was going to save it for a little bit later, but what I do as I get out the saddle where I can and just kind of crank the gears up. At this point, I'm spinning because everyone seems to be being relatively sensible, and then I'm going to use the feather on the later ramp. I see a lot of people using it now. Colin's used it now. That's Colin over there in Coalition Purple. So we've got 62 starters on here. We didn't have 62 finishers. And you can kind of see from the off, there's definitely some climbers in here that I want to put the hurt on a few of us. And as we approach this ramp then, I start to pop the feather because I noticed quite a few others start doing it. And again, I just kind of ramp up the pace a little bit just to kind of get near the front because I don't want to be dropped at this point. And you can see we've split into 2 groups if you look at the map. So I'm just really hoping that I can stay with this front group. But now I know that we've got a bit of a descent. When we cross the banner here, we'll get another power up, and if it is the feather, then I'm going to save it for the next climb. But it's the anvil. Back to getting anvils again. So as you can see, everyone else is using it on the descent as a bit of a rest, and that would be where I suspect a lot of other people would use it too. unlike in some other races, because we're still early on, a lot of people are still pushing on the pedals, and I've seen someone there doing 6.5 watts per kilo on the downhill, so it isn't as much of a rest as you would expect. And if you look back onto the map, you'll see that we've actually spread out quite a bit, so the other groups behind are working really, really hard to get back on, and I think the front of this group is working really hard to keep them away. So as well as the kind of punchy KOM style climbs, you've also got these kind of gradual 3%ers here, there and everywhere. So there is very rarely any flat on this course. So you will struggle to find good places for recovery. So just expect 30 odd minutes of full on racing. Again, there's Colin to my left. Matt's around here somewhere. He keeps appearing on the front, and you'll notice that we did have a little bit of an attack here, and now we're moving into the city to start the run into the Clyde Kicker. There's Matt just behind me, and you'll notice if anyone that you're following on Zwift, if you're in the same race, there'll be a nice little blue glow around them so you can see where they are. So we've got a couple of riders off the front. It's a bit early on. I don't expect that to stick. I don't think they expected it to stick. And the Clyde Kicker, I've talked about it a lot in other race videos, broken up into two parts. You've got this first part here. If you've got a feather, you can hit it now because it's less than a 30-second climb, and it'll last the full thing. And you see some people using it now. And then what I would say is hold everything back. And then when you get to this crossing in the road now, go up a couple of gears, get out the saddle and just pump on the pedals. You'll see a lot of people are using their feathers now. You'll see a lot of orange numbers, and you've got to keep going over the top. And there's a little bit of a decline at the other side to kind of get a little bit of a rest. But again, you'll see it stretched us right out. And if you're at the front, you'll get that little bit more recovery on this bit here, while the rest of them are still trying to chase back on. If you look at the map, we did drop a few more riders on that climb. There's not much time for rest though, because as soon as you get to the bottom of here, there's another ramp, and you can see there's still two riders up ahead, but that doesn't last much longer because again, everyone's kind of pumping on the pedals a bit. You can see flame socks all over the place, and then you've kind of got these little rollers here that lead up. So it's not over once you get over the top of the Clyde Kicker. It's still pretty rolling at this stage. So this part here is the end of the rollers, a little bit of a descent. You see a few people popping the anvils that they must have got at the top of the Clyde Kicker. Luckily, I got a feather, so I'm going to hold on to that for the time being. We'll then go round to round the church. There's another incline at the other side of that, but nothing too serious. And then round the corner, past what would be a sprint banner, but it's another opportunity to get another power up. I will say it's a waste of a feather using it there. If you've got a feather, hold on to it. That ramp's not really big enough to kind of get any benefit out of it, and then you really are risking going around this corner and getting an anvil underneath the banner, and on that, like on the champion sprint, if you get an anvil, the next thing you've got is a climb, so it's pretty pointless unless you get the chance to use it at the other side of the climb. And again, we've got riders punching off the front. They are trying to get away on this, and it's keeping the race pace really high, which is good because this is a Monday evening at 6:10, so there tends to be big turnouts, fast-paced races, and this is the 5:10 to 6:50 category. So punchy riders in this. So this is going to take us kind of around the back end of the city. There's another small kind of gradual climb. Don't be deceived here, right? This is gradually 1 or 2% all around here, so it may look flattish on the map, but people are still pushing on. You see, we've still got the 2 riders up front. Matt tries to close it down, probably burning a few matches that he didn't have because he's just recovered from food poisoning. So he might be a couple of kilos lighter, but he's probably not firing on all cylinders. So as we start to come through the kind of castle arches now, then it's going to ramp up again, just by a couple of percent because it's all yellow. But the pace goes up as soon as the climbing HUD comes up onto the screen. The pace goes up because people know, right? People are doing over 5 watts per kilo. They know that's an opportunity to string out the race again. And I think we've dropped quite a few riders, but I still think we've got around about 30 in this group. Of the 62 that started, so it is a strong group still, and we've still got that one rider kind of dangling out front. Now people are using their feathers, which again, if you need it, use it right now, because as we cross the roundabout at the top, right, although it doesn't show it, there is another banner, and you will get another power up. But I've got a feather. I'm feeling okay right now, so I don't see the need in using it because I risk at the other side getting an anvil, and I didn't want to get an anvil. And then as we come through here, you see a few people popping anvils because we're now going to start the descent to the castle climb. It is a little bit of a steep ramp, so be prepared to get out the saddle and power up it, but don't go too crazy. So it kind of wheels down through these flags and stuff like that, and then you will see row of flags on the start of it, and I'll talk about that when we get down there. Now, if you've got one, it's a great opportunity to use the anvil because you will get a little bit of a recovery, but also it'll maybe ramp up your speed a little bit because going into this climb is all about the approach speed. Going in too fast and starting too early can kind of burn you out, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But hitting it at a really top speed and then attacking is kind of the name of the game. You see the climbing hoods come in, and these are the flags I'm talking about. Now, the final flag is where you want to go up a couple of gears, pop your power up if you've got it, right, and then get out the saddle. Some people have gone way too early now, and you can say, I haven't started, now I go, right, because this is where the ramp is. And as you can see, yes, I'm doing 10 watts per kilo, but I just sail through people because they've started way too early when it's not as steep, right, which means they've burnt out. And then I just sit down and they've got to try and catch back on. And as you can see, there's Colin up ahead. He attacked really hard on that. And what you will notice is, saved the feather. So that is a very short ramp that you can just power up. Yes, my heart rate's at 186, but it comes down quite quickly. But what we have got is the 4 times up the Breakaway Brae reverse. And I don't know how hard they're going to hit it the first time. And after that ramp, I would like to keep the feather as a bit of a backup if I need it, if the group decides to attack on it. This is the Breakaway Brae reverse. It's only 500 metres in length, and as you can see, right, it's only 2.2% average, so it's not as punchy as the other side, which is good, but we are going to do it 4 times. And what I'll suggest is stay seated, save anything until you get towards the orange part, right? And when you get to the orange part, that's the opportunity there. It's going to either get out the saddle and stretch your legs a little bit, or if you've got a power up, that's where it's probably going to last the longest. But it doesn't finish where you think it finishes, because the banner is still round the corner. So you've got to keep pushing all the way to the banner. A few people come off the pedals as we crested, but then it gets flat and people started pushing on the pedals straight away. Now as you come through here, again, it's feather or anvil. Right? If you get the anvil, just use it straight away on the downhill, right? And look at that, the blacksmith's back, right? I'm in with the anvils, just when I don't want them on this repeat climbs. But this is the opportunity now to use it to recover, right? Bring your heart rate down, slow your pedals down, right? And everyone who's got one's popping it now, so they're all in the same mindset. And we're basically going round again another 4 times. Now this little ramp caught me out a couple of times. It hits 6% and it doesn't come up on the climbing hood. So just be aware. Just pump the pedals a little bit and then sail over the top. But I think a few people got caught out by it because they thought they were still in recovery mode on the descent. And it's, like I say, it's not categorised or anything like that, but a little 6% ramp every lap like that can kind of just sap your legs a little bit. Now I haven't got a power up now, so I'm going to have to think about climbing the Breakaway Brae reversed a little bit different this time. So this time I just kind of position myself near the front, and I just kind of look, and people are doing it in 36 seconds was the lead time, so I just know that it's a 30 to 40 second effort and I can kind of maintain that. And all I do is I sit in the pack, and as soon as I get to the yellow bit, I just go up a couple of gears and just get out the saddle, because it just makes life a little bit easier, takes the pressure off, and actually all of these are popping feathers and I'm not really burning anything. You can see my heart rate doesn't go through the roof because I've just gone up and I'm just using my weight on the pedals to kind of push me to the front. And then as soon as it's on the flat and I realise that the resistance is still quite high, I come down the gears and just try to go back into recovery mode. Someone jinxed me tonight though, because the anvils are back. Right, just when we've got a lumpy course, I'm back with the anvils. But again, use it for recovery. You will notice some people are still doing 4.5 watts per kilo down this hill. So you're not getting the recovery that you expect to get on this downhill. So don't expect it. Expect people to still be pushing hard on the downhills to kind of break the pack up. This is still a really big pack for this stage of the race. And again, keep an eye out for this ramp as you go around the corner. I mentioned it last lap. And again, I just pump the pedals a little bit. I don't even get out the saddle for it or anything like that. But there's a few people, you see their watts go straight up over 5 watts per kilo because they get caught out by it. They don't want to sail too far back. And there's Matt to the left of me and Colin to the left of him. So we're doing really well. We're sticking with the front group and this is what we want before we push around for our third ascent. Again, without a power up on the Breakaway Brae reverse. So I was half expecting either this time or definitely the next time for the pace to go through the roof to maybe try and break a few more riders off. And we start to see riders attacking now. So they've got a rider off the front. And what I did look up and see on the map at the top right corner, I was like, have we got 4 riders off the front? But it turns out that this was going quick enough that we were going to lap people. And I was guessing at this point I was going to get an anvil, but I actually got a feather. So I'm just in 2 minds on when to use it. Do I use it on the next climb, or if I'm feeling okay? If the pace is through the roof and it starts to break up, then I think I'm going to use it. But if not, I'm going to save it because if I go over the top and I get an anvil, I'll be destroyed. So as we approach this for the final time, I was expecting this to be a bit of a launch point. I suspect in some races it will be, if people want to go long, because it's only 5.3k to the finish, but it's 5.3 of very lumpy terrain. So the pace was very similar to the previous laps to start with. So I was like, well, I don't need to use my feather. A lot of people have used the feather, and I do believe it's quite risky at this stage because you've got a little bit of climbing to go. But if you're suffering, use it. And as you can see now, Colin attacks hard and goes off the front. Matt's up there as well, and I do sail up here, but I'm not feeling it. So I'm definitely not in the long range attack mode at the moment. And then as we descend down this hill, what we are going to be heading towards, and I notice the pace goes up straight away, we're going to be heading over to the reverse of the castle climb. So we're going to go over the back end of it. Now, I've never been over the back end of this climb before, so it wasn't something I'd recce'd or even looked at. So I was a little bit dubious on how it was going to get tackled. So this is still quite lumpy, hitting 4% little bumps in the road. So you're not really getting any rest on the build up to this. As with most of Scotland, it isn't particularly the flattest of routes. And whilst this is at 0% now, we're over 46k an hour. And then again, we've got ramps before you know it of 6%. So it kind of just kills the pace before you know it. So this is the back of the castle climb, and you can see it's quite short, but there's a little bit of orange and a little bit of red in there. So you can see some people powering. I'm out the saddle. I'm still feeling comfortable at this stage, so I haven't used my feather because at the top of this you don't get a power up. So the final climb is what I want to save it for. And I do make a bit of a schoolboy error in not using it when I'm supposed to use it, but we'll talk about that when I get there. Well, there's Colin again, still powering up the climbs. Great to see. What we're doing now is descending down what is the castle climb. And then it's the long gradual running in reverse that you'll know, and you'll see there a lot of it is in yellow with aspects of orange, but it's not anything too drastic. But straight away the pace in some cases is above 5 watts per kilo. I've seen someone at 6 watts per kilo there, so be prepared that this could be an early attack, but it's still 2.5k to go, so it would be very, very early. So even at this stage, at the orange part where it's like 4.6%, I just get out the saddle and go up a couple of gears, and I just start finding myself sailing towards the front. I'm not exceeding any excess energy, but these lot at the front are absolutely smashing it at 5.5 watts per kilo. So I know we've got a bunch of climbers in here, and at 88 kilos I ain't no climber. And on this kind of 2.5% ramp now, the group comes back together for the last kind of flat section running to the Sgurr Summit, which is a bit of a cheeky climb. So what I didn't realise is if I went under this banner, I would have got another power up, so I could have maybe risked using the feather a little bit earlier on, but I was content to keep it for when I needed it. So my plan going into this, as we reach the final climb, then remember we did this in the run-in, was to save it for now, because I feel like this is steep enough that I can just get out the saddle and power up it, and save it for the later part of the climb where I think I'd be more struggling. Now, someone went off at 9 watts per kilo, someone sprinted through everyone, and then I'm starting to regret the decision to not use it, because I think if I use it now though, it's going to end up being on the yellow part of the climb and I'm not going to get the benefit. But actually, at this stage, when I was doing 7.5 watts per kilo there, I can just feel myself dying. And then Colin goes behind me there, and the group's starting to get away because I've just been caught out, massively caught out, and I died. I think I passed out at this point and then regained consciousness of what was going on. I realised I was still in a race. And then from nowhere, Colin gets a second wind. Colin goes past me, and I think Matt's coming up behind me now. Matt goes past me, and I realise I've got a feather. Why haven't I used it? So absolutely schoolboy error it. And I do notice at some point, Colin just goes absolutely crazy. He's doing it now. He's absolutely powering through 11 watts per kilo up this last ramp. I should have powered up this ramp, I didn't. I don't know why. My brain was just saying no, and then I thought, do you know what, I might be able to catch Matt here if I go for it. And I'm using the steering and everything, and there's Matt in front of me in white with his blue hat, and we get close to the line and he just pips me over. So fair play and well done to Colin as well. And then I finished 21st. But I'm happy with that. My racing score went up by 1 point. But you can see there, the winner there, finishing at 4.3 watts per kilo throughout. So really strong group. And that's me done. Absolutely spent. I managed to finish 21st out of 58 riders. And I almost caught my teammate Matt right on the line. Well played by Colin. He had a cracking last part of the climb. And if you want to see Colin's race, check it out. I'll drop a link to his stream in the race description below. So I hope this video helps you as a recon if you're going to take on this stage yourself. It is a brutal one, but knowing those kind of key climbs can kind of make all the difference. So let me know down in the comments then how you got on. I'd love to hear your stories. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button for more Zwift races, live streams when they work, and more over the new Kicker core. Big things coming. Thanks very much. Bye bye.